By the way, these claims they make are just so easy for them to make. They constantly make these types of claims just effortlessly if anything appears to contradict their flat earth cosmology. So, claim number one from them is that the ISS is not real and it's definitely not in space.
That is true that many flat earthers think the ISS is fake and that they're filming it in a pool, and many flat earthers do think that. But to say that that's what all flat earthers think, that's wrong. I know the ISS is real. I've filmed it hundreds of times and for many years, and it's, I believe, probably the same thing that you believe, that people on Earth, men and women on Earth, built a vehicle called the space shuttle, and they launched it up into a place that they find to be what they call low Earth orbit, and they find that there's no drag, almost no drag on a vehicle moving, and if they move fast enough sideways, they end up staying up there. Now, you call that space, and a lot of flat earthers think space is fake. I am a flat earther, and I would say that it's the place you're calling space is outer darkness. It's scary to me to watch this world thinking that there's some benefit in going to this dark abyss.
So, all the pictures you see of the ISS itself, those are all CGI.
No, they're not.
All the people who have been on the inside of the ISS, which is almost 300 people at this point, they are all lying and they're all in on the conspiracy.
I actually believe what Paul the Apostle told the Ephesians. If they're in on the conspiracy, then they're not people, okay? They might look like people. We might be entertaining angels unaware. Astronauts are the only people, there's only been like 600 or something like that total, that have claimed to leave the Earth. Those are the only people that have ever claimed to leave this Earth and go to a place that basically no one is going to go except for those select few people. Now, there's reasons why I have suspicions that the astronauts are unclean spirits. And this comes back to the Spacex Dragon capsule. Picture this. The Dragon capsule, today this happens, they're on like crew 8 or whatever. They've done 8 missions with the Crew Dragon or whatever. I think 8. Anyway, they dock to the space station and let's just say there's 3 astronauts in the Dragon, okay? They dock to the space station and they get everything ready, and then they do like this, they always do this video, and it's the hatch opening, okay? They open the hatch, and there's a video camera looking at the Dragon, this hatch that the Dragon capsule is connected to, and they open it up, and these astronauts that were just riding up on the Dragon, they come floating out of the Dragon capsule into the space station, and they're like moving themselves along, you know, with they're pushing themselves along, and I mean, it almost looks like they're a little bit in water, but they're not. It's just a different environment, right? That's why I call it an abyss, guys. So 2 points. An abyss is somewhere that if you went into it, you would just be falling, okay? You'd be falling without end. There's no bottom to it. It's a bottomless pit. That's why the astronauts are in 0G or floating, because physics would tell us, if we apply physics to God's throne, which I think is a mistake, but physics tells us that as they're moving sideways over the surface of the Earth, that they're moving fast enough that the curvature of the Earth is basically the same as their path. If you're going like this around something, you have an outward acceleration that there's, I don't know what all the right words, but there's an outward force, and gravity is an inward force towards the center of the Earth. And so if you zero out that vector so that it equals the outward and inner force, then you're in an orbit. That's what an orbit is. That's what physics would say. But that's why I call it a bottomless pit, because the space station has been in orbit for 25 years. It's been falling, and it still hasn't got to the bottom, and I don't think it ever will. It's a place of falling, perpetual falling, okay? That's the one point. The other point is these astronauts, they come floating out of the Dragon capsule. This happens on a regular basis now, and there's video of it. And if you look at what John described seeing in Revelation 16, let me read a couple verses to you. And this is to me, it's concerning these astronauts. They're sus. There's something going on that is an angelic force happening. It's an angelic conspiracy, just like what Paul told the Ephesians. We're not struggling against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And the Greek words there is, I think it's cosmic powers of evil in the heavenly realms. So bad angels in the sky, that's what we're struggling against. So picture in your mind these astronauts coming out of this Dragon capsule, floating into this space station, while I read to you Revelation 16, verse 13. It says, "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty." Is that what we're falling for? So the conspiracy is not one of men. It's an angelic conspiracy. That is the deception here. So I wanted to try to be clear about that.
So it's easy for them to say the ISS is fake, right? But then amateur photographers and regular people with telescopes.
He's talking about people like me. Here's some of my amateur footage.
Came out claiming they could see the ISS from their own backyards. Now, the flat earthers' knee-jerk reaction to this is to say they are lying, of course.
That brings up an opportunity for me to talk about something that's bothered me for years. The flat earthers, a lot of them, and here's the problem that I see with calling other people liars. To have that stance, you don't believe what Paul the Apostle said. And if we're talking about lying to the world, I mean. The idea that NASA has people at the top, the elite or something, that are lying about the shape of the world. You know, in Revelation, that's not what John said happened. He said that the devil, Satan, the dragon, deceived the whole world. He didn't just deceive part of the world and then told these elite people the secrets and didn't lie to them.
The distance covered by the ISS in just one orbit around the Earth is almost 25,000 miles. And again, this happens 16 times every single day. And these ISS tracking websites, there's multiple of them, they tell you down to the second when the ISS will be visible based on your geographical coordinates. Down to the second. Considering how much just weather and mechanical issues affect the punctuality of aircraft on a daily basis, the fact that the ISS is always right on time is further proof it's in space in continuous orbit around the Earth.
I would argue with that. It's not proof that it's in continuous orbit around the Earth. It's proof that the celestial realm is being inhabited by corruptible things. That's what it is. God created the firmament, and he put the sun and moon and stars in the firmament. That's what it says in Genesis. He set them in the firmament to be for signs, seasons, days, and years. All of time, the whole concept of time comes from the sky. That is a clock. That is what, if you wanted to set your Rolex to the most accurate time, you try to copy what the sky is doing. That's what watches do. They're trying to copy the timing of God's firmament. So I would say it's not proof that it's orbiting in a globe. It's proof that God's sky is perfect. It's a perfect clock. And so when they put something up into God's firmament, it's also going to be perfectly timed.
I'm actually really glad that the flat Earth community has publicly stated that they think the ISS is a bunch of B-2 bombers.
Pastor Will, I don't think that. I'm a flat earther. There's no place to be saying the flat Earth community says something, because I'm a part of that community, but I don't say that. Anyone that looks into it, you can watch it almost every day. There's periods of time when it's on a different, like, it has to match with the lighting of the day, the twilight, in order to see it. But like you said, it's down to the second. That is true. You can know exactly when it will show up. Not only that, you can also know precisely where it will become visible in the sky, at what degrees and what direction. So I don't think there's a B-2 bomber. That's ridiculous.
Because no one in their right mind will take that seriously, and they will see just how desperate flat earthers are to explain away the ISS.
Not all flat earthers. I'll wrap this video up by saying Lucifer had a mission statement according to the prophet Isaiah. And what he said in his heart was, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. NASA also has a mission statement. They say, we will ascend into heaven and place our space station in low Earth orbit. And then, of course, we have Elon Musk that says, hold my beer.